What's up, everyone? Welcome to another episode of the Empire Radio Podcast. I'm Andrew,
I'm Jeremiah.
I'm Drew.
and today you're listening to the very first 6-hour Empire Radio episode,
Yep.
completely centered around the first two seasons of the Ewok cartoon on Disney
Yep.
Plus.
Yep.
So if you're here for Ewoks, that's not what.
No,
we're not-
no,
we're
Oh,
definitely not doing that.
crap! I forgot. I didn't watch any of them.
Yeah, Jeremiah was like, I definitely didn't. I didn't, and I don't know. At some point it'll happen.
I'm taking a break from bears right now.
Yeah, that's fine. After the last two Ewok pieces of content that we watched, I'm good for a little while. So, anyways, welcome to another episode. If you're new, welcome. Thank you for being here. We really, really appreciate it, and we're excited for you to be here.
Yeah.
We try to make this as entertaining as possible, and we try to make it a party.
Yep.
And I'd say a solid 92% of the time we succeed at that. So
Yeah.
if you're new, this will be a fun episode. We have the return of the Cantina discussion. It's been a while. It's been
It's slight variation because we know the question ahead of time. but
True.
that's true. That is
Normally,
true.
one person only knows a question and they ask the
That's
other
true.
two. But we didn't know what else to call it, so we're calling it Cantina discussion.
Yeah. So shout out to Hold My Tea and or Ira, and I really hope I'm saying that correctly. Yell at me on the Discord if I'm not. Give me the little, I don't know what you got. Jeremiah, you would know the little thing. The thing that people have on their Facebooks that like helps people pronounce their names.
The
space bars?
pronunciation.
Yeah, like a pronunciation guide. Anyways, just let me know. If I'm saying it wrong, just let me know. But our question that we're going to be discussing today is from her. It is from our Discord, which if you're not a part of, it's pretty wild. It's bumping. We're growing, and it's getting more difficult for me to even catch up and stay
Yeah.
up to date on what's happening. So if you want to join a community, a really great community full of Star Wars fans, and you want to talk about anything and everything Star Wars, head over to our Instagram or our Facebook, both of which are at Empire Radio Podcast, Empire Radio Podcast. All one word, all lowercase, just smush it together, type it in that way. The link is in our Instagram bio and in a pinned post on our Facebook page. And while you're there, you might as well just go ahead and follow both of them,
Yeah.
or whichever one you have. Facebook is really not my thing, and that's okay. And if it's not your thing or Instagram's not your thing, it doesn't matter. We got they're both covered. We're on both of them. Also, we do have a YouTube channel, so if you really enjoy YouTube and you enjoy Star Wars content, head over to YouTube, type in Empire Radio, a Star Wars podcast. In the search bar, you'll be able to find us. It's the same logo we use for everything. It's got the Empire symbol with Empire Radio above and below it. Give us a subscribe, if that made any sense.
Give it.
Give us a subscribe. I was
Hit
going to
the
say give us a
subscribe
follow.
button.
I was going to say give us a follow, but then I was like, oh, that's
No.
not the right social media. So go ahead and subscribe. Hit the bell notification button so you can stay up to date and be notified when new stuff drops. And last but surely not least, we stream the live recordings of these episodes every single Tuesday night at 8 p.m.-ish Central and 9 p.m.-ish Eastern. I say ish because the goal is 8 p.m. And 9 p.m. respectively, but that sometimes it does happen, and
Yeah.
sometimes it doesn't for various reasons. So anyways, if you're new, we're going to be referencing our Twitch chat, twitch.tv/Empire Radio is where we stream. And that is because we have people that are live with us right now,
A lot.
sending us messages, and it's bumping already. Like, for example, right as I was about to say, hey, everyone, do the whole spiel right at the beginning, someone put in, give me that Wesley Andrews coffee and tea ad, and I almost laughed, like I almost actually lost it. And then there was a conversation about what kind of guitar Vader would play, and Maul. And there's a lot of other stuff.
Maul
happening in this
would
chat
play
right now.
like a two neck. guitar.
Okay,
I
you
think
know
that's
what?
what Tanner said.
Yo,
See? Oh.
Yeah.
I think that's exactly what Tanner said.
I'm pretty
Where he
sure.
said maybe Vader would play a double neck. I don't know.
Well, Maul would play
But
the V. I don't know. The chat's
yeah,
blowing up right now, and if you want to
it's
be
blowing up.
involved, come over to Twitch on Tuesday nights. It's
Yeah.
a good time.
So, anyways, we're here, and the real last but surely not least thing that I want to mention is that you can send us a voicemail,
Yep.
and we will listen to these voicemails, assuming that the content is family friendly, because we have a lot of different ages listening to this podcast, but assuming it's good content, we will listen to it on air and we will respond to your questions or your remarks or whatever. And so wherever you're listening to the podcast, in the browser below, there's going to be some links. Among those links is one that you can click on and leave us a voicemail. And it just so happens that we have one to listen to right now. So have you been listening to the podcast for like the last 4 months,
Really? That long?
3 months?
I think it was like the first week in February.
You've heard this this person referenced. If you're in the Discord, you definitely know who this person is.
And if you're in the chat, this person's in there. So
Yeah, good old Daddy Palps.
And he came in at the 11th hour because this morning there wasn't a voicemail, and I was about to, like an hour before, I was like posting Discord at everyone. We don't have a voicemail yet, but then there was one he put in.
Yeah, there's a voicemail.
Minute, so.
If you don't have a voicemail, I'm gonna call in and leave a voicemail.
No, you're not.
No, I'm not.
You can have Micaiah leave a message.
Ooh.
Nah.
Say, let Andrew be done editing earlier this week. That's what it would say.
Or we can have Stephanie leave one. Please let Drew come home at a decent hour. Thank you.
That would it would sound more aggressive than that, but yeah, that would work.
Anyways, so we have one from Daddy Palps himself to listen to. You guys ready?
Yep.
Yes.
Please excuse the audio quality of this. Daddy Palps, I don't know what happened, but when it got recorded, it came in a little bit choppy, but you can still hear what you're saying. So let's take a listen.
Hi guys, Daddy Palps here. I just had a question. So at the end of Rebels, Obi-Wan, or Ben Kenobi now, the Alchemist version, says to Maul that Luke is the chosen one. What do you think about that? Is that true? I mean, George Lucas said that Anakin is the chosen one. My other question, real quick, is who would you choose to train you if you were chosen as a Jedi? My pick would be Plo Koon.
Oh.
All right. Have a good one. Also from Minnesota. Love you guys. I've been here for a long time. All right. Bye.
Okay, I would like to make note that because of your question, it leads me to believe that you watched the Plo Koon video that I posted in the Discord the other day. I'm looking down at my phone to see if he's actually going to confirm or deny that. But I would like to think that I helped influence that decision for Plo Koon. Maybe
I
not.
still
I don't
haven't
know.
watched that. I should go watch
Well,
that.
Drew,
I started watching it, and then I was like, didn't have time.
Wow.
To finish it. Hey. Okay, whatever. I was going to say something and I couldn't think of something to say.
think about it. I got one guy that says I didn't watch it at all, and then Jeremiah's like, I started it and I didn't
Hey,
finish it.
my life is crazy right now, okay? That's to say the least.
Okay. Well,
But
all right. Anyways, so let's just answer his two questions. So I'll just give my spiel about the Chosen One really quickly. We can go around the room here, the virtual room, and share our thoughts. So I think that Kenobi says that because from his perspective, he thought the Chosen One was a thing in Anakin, and he fell. We know that. Fell to the dark side, and then presumably died. Well, would he know about Vader at this point? I would assume so.
Well, assuming that the new Kenobi series, there's an interaction,
That's fair.
he would know. But
well, we don't know if that's
nothing's happened yet in that series, so we don't know. But we do know that by the time he gets to A New Hope, he knows that that's Anakin because he
Right.
knows who he is. So
Yeah.
Right. So, I mean, at the very least, his fall to the dark side in Obi-Wan's mind would have disqualified him from being the Chosen One. Because the prophecy of the Chosen One was that a Jedi was going to come destroy the Sith and return balance to the Force. It wasn't like what they got. So I think it's totally reasonable for him to believe and then to tell Maul that Luke is the Chosen One because he was the last, obviously Anakin clearly, disqualified himself by his standards. And then Luke was the only thing left. It couldn't be him. He's older. He's in exile. He's guarding this new hope. And so that makes sense to me. And that's why
he said what he said.
That's why he said what he said. And that's why Anakin can still be the Chosen One, because it was just a matter of Obi-Wan's perspective in the moment, though a valid, a very valid and understandable one. So
I would say that Obi-Wan, like, it was kind of what you're saying, like the Chosen was transferred to Luke, but I think that's what he thought, that he was the Chosen One because it was transferred to him because Anakin failed, but that doesn't mean that he actually was the Chosen One. And so we've talked about the Chosen One in a Cantina discussion, I think, actually, like last summer.
yeah, we
and
did.
So we did a deep dive into what we thought the Chosen One was. And my perspective was that Anakin was the Chosen One, and he did fulfill his role as the Chosen One because by the time we get to A New Hope, there's 2 Sith, Palpatine and Vader, and then Obi-Wan and Yoda at the time are the 2 Jedi. So it's 2 even amounts of light and dark. And so he brought balance to the Force that way. And so, and we know that at the very end of The Rise of Skywalker, one of the Force voices that we hear is Anakin. He says, "Bring balance to the Force,
like I once did."
like I once did. And so, I think Obi-Wan thought Luke was the Chosen One, but I don't think he actually was.
I have the same answer. I think the biggest thing is that in Obi-Wan's mind, it's like the Chosen One betrayed everyone and himself. So there's no way that could be the Chosen One, and that's why he had to guard Luke. And in his mind, Luke could be the new Chosen One, and that's why he told Maul in that situation. To also give Maul hope, too, and, like, to feel like, Maul, like, your death wasn't for anything, essentially. I feel like in that scene, like, he had so much grace towards Maul towards the end. And, like, and the battle that Maul had between trying to kill Palp and, like, all that stuff. It seemed like he had a lot of grace towards Maul towards the end, which is why that scene's so beautiful. And so I think it was more of, like, you can rest in peace now. Like, the Chosen One is here. And, like, I don't know. That's my take on it. What?
Yeah, it's just interesting because, like, Luke is the new hope, and Maul saw Luke as hope.
Yeah.
Because he would say, he will avenge us.
Yeah.
And so, like, you sympathize with Maul because of the hope that Luke brings. And so, regardless of whether or not Luke was the Chosen One, he brought hope and destroyed the Sith. So.
All right, y'all. So if we were Force sensitive, brought into the Jedi Order, and were given a pick of anyone who could train us for you guys, who would it be?
Can I go first?
Sure.
No, you can't. Sorry.
Oh.
Go ahead.
Do they have to be Jedis? Like, can I pick, like, Ahsoka? Or does that not count?
Did the question state Jedi to train, or who would you ask to train you?
He did kind of imply, there was like, I'm paraphrasing, but it was like if you were brought into the Order. But I mean, if we're gonna, yeah, sure, Ahsoka's fine. Like,
I feel like I would want to pick Ahsoka because I know that Ahsoka has such a good heart, and she doesn't know where to pick at the end, and I feel like that teaching would affect me a lot and would help me decide and probably leave the Jedi Order myself. And, like, so I feel like
weird flex, but okay.
I don't know. I just feel like she would be if she was ever to the point where she was able to, like, become a Jedi trainer, that would be the one I would want to pick because she's really good at fighting. She's really good in the Force, and she's very wise as a young age. And like as a youngling, seeing that from a distance probably would have made me want to pick her. Yeah, if I'm allowed to pick her. I don't know
Sweet.
who I'd pick if I wouldn't be allowed to pick her. But
I don't know. For me, like, I think Plo Koon is a pretty cool character. I really like him as a character. He's like one of my favorite, like, minor Jedi, I guess you could say. 'Cause you got like the top 5 in like.
Does he have a flat
And-
third?
Yes. And a flat 4th. Is that a thing? I don't know.
Not in a minor chord. That would
Okay.
that would be
Okay.
there's a reason why he
Anyway.
quit that
Anyway.
class really quick.
Plo Koon is cool. I really like him. I also really like Kit Fisto.
Oh, Kit.
Fisto.
yeah.
And so he's cool. So those two are my favorite, like, minor Jedi. I think Obi-Wan would be too intimidating, and Anakin and Yoda. But
But I feel like everyone is.
or Ki-Adi-Mundi, he'd be pretty cool. He cares
Ooh.
about the Wookiees, so like I like the Wookiees. Hang out with the Wookiees, that'd be cool.
Yeah, dude, I feel like Ki-Adi-Mundi was kind of weird.
He's a hippie.
I don't know.
But in hindsight, he kind of reminds me of Jeremiah's dad, so I could see that.
What?
Your dad's a little.
How?
I don't know. Your dad's free-willed,
What?
long beard, likes. I don't know.
What does that have to do with
I don't know.
Ki-Adi-Mundi?
I don't.
Well, let me tell you about my pick. My pick
It's not a bad thing. Your dad's
would
cool.
probably be. I would have probably liked to have been trained by Qui-Gon,
Yeah, I could see that.
Yeah,
assuming.
he didn't die.
He didn't die.
Yeah, like like I'm talking like Qui-Gon, early Qui-Gon in his prime, but before the Phantom Menace. Like I would have really enjoyed that. Plo Koon would be a good runner-up. EU Luke would have been good. Jeremy's like every time this guy brings up the EU. Tanner in the chat says Dooku when he was a Jedi. That was actually, if you've read
Ooh.
Dooku Jedi Lost.
Spoiler alert, just so you know.
Well, I'm not going to say anything about the book. I was just going to
okay.
say you should read it
Oh,
because
okay.
there's a lot of Dooku
Canon.
when he was a Jedi math. Yeah, it's canon. It's really good. And yeah, that would probably be my pick. I would say Qui-Gon for sure.
Cool.
All right. Daddy Pops, thank you for sending that in. We really appreciate it. We always love, like, these are always like little mini cantina discussions for us. So
Yeah.
it's a lot of fun. And we really appreciate you guys sending them in. So please don't stop. Right now, we
Yep.
don't have any voicemails for next week.
Yep.
Yes.
We're once again asking for you to leave a voicemail on our Anchor webpage. So
Yeah.
Granted, next week is going to be a long episode, but
Yeah.
yeah, it's gonna be
But-
pretty long.
and Friday, too.
And Friday. We're doing
Oh, wow, yeah, we are. I'm still not even past the end of this week yet.
That's
like,
that's
For
'cause
some
it's
reason I thought we had
Tuesday.
2 more weeks, but it's actually only 1 week. Like
Yeah, it's next week, you guys.
Next week, 2 episodes of Empire Radio for however many weeks the show goes. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you guys
I
didn't know
heard the
that,
rumor was it 14 episodes or something. So
strap in. I thought it was just going.
Strap in.
Is it going past the Loki show then?
I don't know.
Because
don't
Loki
care
is
about
Loki
like
is like
anymore.
okay.
It's like the first week of like June.
June
So,
2nd.
something like that. But let's fly on over to Tatooine.
I thought you
Yes.
would never ask Jeremiah. Here we go.
I thought he would never ask. Oh, it's so sandy over here, but I like it.
That was kind of
All right. So,
weird,
anyways, we're here. We made it. And we're going to be discussing
What docking bay
question.
are we in?
1313.
Okay.
Whichever one you want it to be.
Okay.
Whichever one. Considering we all flew here in a single TIE fighter,
It was tight. It was a tight fit.
it doesn't matter to me as long as we made it.
Sure.
Anyways, so yeah, we're talking today. Again, thank you for the submission. Hold My Tea and or Ira. Hopefully I'm saying that correctly. She at one point, I think it was the Ask Us Anything episode.
The
She
AUA,
submitted this. She submitted this as a question, and it was one of two that we kind of set aside that night because I was like, that could be its own thing in its entirety. So here we are. We made it full circle. We're doing this one, and then we have another one that we got in our back pocket for later. And yeah, so tonight the question is, Jedi mind trick, is it moral? So this is not an easy one for sure. So that's what we're going to be discussing. The Jedi mind trick, previously called the mind touch. I think that's what it was called in Light of the Jedi.
Yes, I think so.
The Jedi mind trick, is it moral?
The mind touch has such a different feeling about it. Is that weird?
Because it's a
more
touch.
literal.
That's why.
Yeah, it's more literal. Your influence.
Yeah, I guess
you're influencing the mind of the other person. Yeah.
So, quick question: did Sith use mind tricks? Is that like an EU thing at all? Because we've never seen like a Sith use that before. I don't think.
I thought
think,
it only worked for the
foremost, huh?
Because Sith are weak-minded. Is that why they couldn't do it?
No, the Sith were very strong-minded. Like Palpatine, Maul, like all those guys were very strong-minded.
True, but I don't know. I've always thought like it was like a that's I don't know. I'm thinking too much.
Yeah.
Just keep going.
I would say I'm not going to say that the Sith didn't use it, but I don't remember there being an example of a Sith using it really. Primarily because they just, when things started going wrong, instead of tricking their way through situations, they normally just drew their lightsabers and just started hacking people down. They had a very different approach to living their lives.
Yeah.
So anyways, I would say it wouldn't be impossible, but I don't remember an example of it. Okay, so one question is, how do we want to define moral? Just kind of. Okay, I know that's
a discussion for a philosophy.
Yeah,
podcast.
I know that's a huge, massively loaded question. But just kind of from like a 100,000-foot view, what is the standard?
Well,
is it? I would just say
it also depends on like the situation.
Well,
which we'll get
that
into.
is part of the thing that I want to hit on.
So like it's
people
determine the context is what matters, and so it's what are you doing with it? Because if you're doing these are not the droid you're looking for, you're not negatively affecting someone's life. But if you're like mind tricking them to do something bad, or to help you steal money or something, like that's a different thing. And so it's like the one is maybe not immoral, or it's like would be amoral, like not moral, like as in it's not good or bad.
Yeah.
But then other ones it would be good or bad. And so for me, my definition would depend on the context, not an overarching idea.
Yeah, I think for me, and this would extend to any superhuman ability, any sort of a power that you have over another person that can influence them in any way, whether it's like, you have the scene at the end of Man of Steel when he has to, spoilers for the Man of Steel if you care about that, when he has to kill Zod, it's like anytime you have that sort of a power to take a life, to influence someone negatively or positively, for me, it comes down to what's your motive. Right. Context, most definitely. But I would say for me personally, that comes second to the motive.
Yeah.
Of the person that is enacting that power, using the power, doing whatever, influencing the other person in whatever way, in a sense of good and evil. You kind of have the general things. On one side, you've got of good and evil, you have life and death. Generally speaking, I mean, these are broad sweeps, but it's, you've got life and death, good and evil. And then underneath those actions that are very easily associated with one or the other, genocide versus helping the poor, they're not equally in the same, but you get what I'm saying. Like there's very clearly bad, there's very clearly good. And it's, what's your motive? How are you inclined in those moments to do so?
Okay, so question: how long does the mind trick work?
I don't know,
because that's something that someone asked in the chat, and that's a question because it seems like what we've seen in the movies, anyways. It seems like it's only in that moment, and
I feel like we discussed this during season 7 of the Clone Wars when Ahsoka mind tricks the Pike guy, and I think I remember mentioning like that Jedi mind trick lingered quite a while because that guy was in a daze.
I mean, I think you
for
can,
like a couple minutes or something like that.
You can change the intensity of it for sure.
Right.
But the power of the mind trick is it's I think people think it's like more of a control thing, but it's even way more powerful than that in the sense that it's influencing
people's action,
your psychology underneath the surface. Like it's not just making them do something, you're influencing their desires or their
it's kind of like
their instincts, It's
kind of like the movie of Inception.
Yeah.
Where the whole point of the movie is they're trying to put a thought deep down in someone's subconscious that causes him to make a business move or something like that. And so like I guess the deeper you go into the mind, like the longer it would linger. But if it's like you just want to get past the door, like that's a quick thing that this lasts, maybe like 30 seconds or something. Because once you go through the door and you're gone, like they don't realize it.
Yeah.
But if you're trying to like do something where they're going to be watching you or in the same room with you for a while, like it has to go deeper and take root longer.
Yeah.
And so,
like, did the guy in the cantina go home and rethink his life and got a new job and? Like that's what someone's saying in the chat. Like, is that like did Obi-Wan go that deep to make him go home, rethink his life, get a job?
I don't think he went that deep per se. But here's what I think could have happened. I think Obi-Wan planted a thought that could have been powerful enough to drive his actions into the future.
It created conviction.
Correct. And that to me is extremely powerful because at any point you can. I would imagine, like, no Force user has the ability to hold something for that long.
Well, that's what Tanner said in the chat too. Like, like how it lasts as long as they can hold the Force, like as long as they want to use it.
Right. And so people have the choice to change, and if I'd say if the guy, this guy from the Coruscant, like the bar that they were in, if he didn't find himself in another situation that he would have been, addicted to death sticks, it's possible. I mean, it's genuinely possible. It's like people, you hear about people that have been, like hypnotized out of smoking and stuff like that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's like, or if you've seen the movie Get Out. I was
True.
thinking about that.
Is that your favorite movie? Because that's all you yell at us.
I will tell you this: it's not my favorite movie, but gosh darn it, it's a good movie.
It is a good movie.
Yeah. there's a lot to unpack there that we don't have time for. But yeah. So, but like it's possible to in theory at least to implant something that has a lasting effect on someone. So it just depends. But then again, like in all of the instances that we've seen it, it's been a very quick, like, I need to get through a door. I need you to unshackle me. I need you to leave me alone because you're annoying. I need, like it's been very quick, open the gate or whatever,
Now,
very quick things.
Would you say that when, I guess there's one in a movie and then in Clone Wars, but Kylo Ren interrogating Rey and Poe, like, is that a mind trick or is that just reading a mind?
So the Sith in the expanded universe novels, okay, so take it however you will. There are novels where it talks about probing another person's mind. And it's definitely much more of a Sith thing because it's very aggressive and it's like you're essentially taking a battering ram and just like throwing open the doors in their mind and just going in and ransacking it or to try to find information and stuff like that. So it's very different.
Because like what we see is... So
you wouldn't classify that as a mind trick? Like,
no, because they're not trying to 9 times out of 10 when they're doing that, it's not to influence the person, it's to take something from them.
Okay, because like
you can say like you will tell me where the key is hidden, but it's like in these cases it's like I am literally trying. It's like the scene. You wouldn't know it. Gosh darn it! I was gonna say it was like the scene in is it Order of the Phoenix? I don't remember. One of the later Harry Potter books and movies where Snape,
spoilers,
tries to get into Harry's mind to train him to guard himself from the Dark Lord, and it's the same concept for the Sith. It's like they're trying to probe them.
And I feel like what
thank you, Tanner. It was Order of the Phoenix.
Yeah, I feel like in the where we saw Kylo Ren do it, it seemed more of like he was trying to get everything. Like I feel like if it would have worked, it would have made him like depressed and like just like not a person almost. Instead of like a mind trick is like what we've been shown, it's like something quick. It's like going through a door or telling someone to go rethink their life. Like, what are you doing? Like, what you're doing right now is not good. But the way Kylo was doing it was like he was trying to get in there, find everything about the person, and even take their spirit. And it seemed like if it would have worked the way he wanted it to work, like Rey would have sat there like huddled up and scared for her whole life and not have a meaning or purpose anymore.
And there are Sith that have done that to people, even Jedi, and they have lost their minds as a result.
Because they went too deep.
Yeah, I mean they ruined them. I mean, if you think about it, spoilers. The chat's going so quick that honestly, so I don't know if someone said this yet or not. But spoilers for just Revan, just anything about Revan. If you care about Revan, here's a spoiler. He and Malik, the reason why they turned to the Sith, the ways of the dark side of the Sith, was because of a very similar thing happened by Vitiate, the Sith emperor. So they got captured. He tore them apart mentally and basically reprogrammed them to follow the dark side. So like all of this to say, Jeremiah, it's a very interesting question. Like you do raise a good point because they're both a force user going into someone's mind and influencing them. But then if you compare the two side by side, we bring it full circle to what's the motive? Because the Jedi, the mind trick is a light side ability. It's known as that, and that's because it's like I'm just gonna suggest something, and then I'm gonna leave you alone. Where it's like the Sith,
they're using it to make them bad.
Ahead, Drew.
You know what I mean? Like the Sith are using it to like either convert them to the Sith or not let them feel like a human anymore. And like the trick,
information,
the mind trick is more of like something quick. It's to distract. It's like used as a tactic. I feel like more than Well, guess they're
and
both tactics, but like the other one
and
is like to just ruin you.
yeah, and Daddy Palps did just make a very good point. He said the Jedi use it as a way to get out of violence. And again, that
is
brings
true.
back to my thing is like, okay, what's your intention?
Yeah,
Because go ahead.
the other instance like that was similar to Kylo, but was in the Clone Wars. I think it was like in season 1.
Yeah.
It was
yeah.
was it Cad Bane?
Yeah.
And
Yep.
it was like they took 2 or 3 Jedi,
I know exactly.
all
Oh,
three
yeah.
of them using. Did they say you will tell us something or
Yeah.
what? I can't remember what they said, but he was like in the cell and he's like, "I'm strong enough to resist you," but then they did 3 of them and then he ended up giving
One
up
of them.
information.
Yeah.
But like that was kind of like similar to Kylo, where he's like they're trying to extract information, but I think they said you will tell us.
Yeah.
So
It's
it's
still
like
up to you.
so it's like there's like an overlap with a mind trick and what Kylo Ren did to Rey and Poe. Like
the interesting thing is like the mind trick is okay. So it's a widely known fact in the Star Wars lore that the mind trick only works on the weak-minded.
right.
When in truth, many Jedi have the ability to just, even with a strong-willed person, to just break through their mental defenses.
Or it takes 3 of them to do it.
Right. But that's what I'm saying. And I think the thing that I think the second you begin to really probe and try to break down their defenses, it stops becoming a mind trick. Because if you think of like in both of the ways that this technique is described, you have mind touch and mind trick, both of which are they're very non-probing in nature. Like if you trick someone, you're not forcing.
It's like magic.
Right. It's like
I have your
if
card.
it works, it works. But if the person sees through it, it doesn't work. Same thing with a touch. It's like I'm just reaching out and making contact versus I'm forcing you into submission onto the ground.
Yeah.
Or whatever. And I think that's where the Jedi were technically doing a mind trick, but it became very blurred because it stopped being good and pure in nature, and it became. I mean, you can tell that moment is so full of tension. And Ahsoka very clearly, she's like, "Stop! Like you guys need to stop.
Yeah.
Like, this is not okay." And it's because they were consistently trying to probe his mind and push his defenses.
So Jeremiah threw me off because you said like season 1, but I watched them so out of order because I watched them in the order that
Chronological order.
Yeah, so I remember that whole scene, but you're like season 1, I'm like
I thought it was, or maybe it was season 2. I remember it was early on.
Even chronologically, it's one of the first 2 seasons.
Yeah, because
no, it is.
with
It's
like Ahsoka and Luminara versus Ventress. Like
Yeah.
that was like the first like major lightsaber duel in the show, and so I remember that one always stuck out to me, and it was just a cool episode regardless, or arc or whatever it was. But
yeah.
and then I can't remember did Luke do a mind trick in Jabba's palace? I can't remember. Did he?
He tried.
Who did he do?
He tried to do
Jabba?
it on
He tried
Jabba,
it on-
Okay.
yeah,
and it didn't work.
Yeah.
Jabba was laughing. He said,
Yeah,
"Mine
one of
too
the
strong."
things that Raptor said in the chat is that when Kylo does it, it's a battle of wills.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you're in a battle of wills versus you're just kind of lightly influencing the person,
Right.
you know. But then you get into this really tough thing of is it moral if we take that situation with Luminara, Kenobi, and Mace versus Cad Bane, was that morally good, right?
Because what was the
because
information they were trying to get?
it was like the location of a ship or something. I honestly don't remember, but I do know that the intel was something that like the Republic as a whole would benefit from.
Yeah.
So, it's this age-old question of does the suffering of one justify the benefit of the many? Does one wrong action at the expense of the safety or the benefit of countless others, can it be justified?
You're getting to politics, dude.
Well, I don't want to go. I do not
We
want
can
to go
start
there.
a politics podcast.
No, I'm not going to be a part of that one. I don't
Me
wanna do
either.
that.
Nope.
But
I'm out.
hostage locations. That's right. Oh,
Oh.
it was the kids.
Yeah.
The force sensitive children. Yeah. Thank you.
Was it?
Yeah.
Yep.
Thank you, Raptor.
remember now.
I really appreciate that.
I
Yeah.
thought it
So
was further into the show, but maybe I'm wrong.
I think it was earlier than you might think, because I think I remember hitting that episode and being like the same thing. I thought this was later in the show. But at that point, morally speaking, just kind of a general right versus wrong. Is it morally acceptable to probe someone's mind to get information that will benefit others? And it comes, and that's why I said for me, it comes into your motives come into play 100%. Your intentions come into play. I mean, if you think about, the struggle between Obi-Wan and Anakin, there's a line on Mustafar where Obi-Wan says, "I will do what I must," and he fully intends to kill him, to kill Anakin. Like, emotion aside, he says that because he realizes that the threat of Anakin has now surpassed the morality. Like, it's no longer, I can't kill a human, I can't kill another Jedi. I want to preserve life. I want to celebrate life. No, like, it's like, if I fail, the entire galaxy could fall.
Well, I think after Obi-Wan watched that video feed that me and Jeremiah still want to see, that probably changed a lot of what he thought about Anakin.
And that's true. But I'm saying, there's countless references in Star Wars.
Like, what are you talking about? What video feed? I'm like, oh, okay.
But there's countless references to this stuff in all of Star Wars, and it's and I think it directly applies to the mind trick. If we're talking, Obi-Wan using it on our stormtrooper so that they can get past, of course, there's I don't doubt that. There's no way it couldn't be. It would be immoral or amoral. You know what I'm saying? Because it's just influencing someone to basically look the other way, and it was for the greater good of the galaxy. Same thing with the times that Rey did it, where she got to be freed from a holding cell or whatever.
That is a funny scene. That scene is just funny. James Bond is mind tricked by Rey.
Yeah. But, sorry, I just hit my mic. Daddy Palps just put in the chat. He said, "I think it's such a dangerous area for Jedi. Jedi could easily fall to the dark side with mind tricks if they want power." Well, good.
I was gonna say, I think that's why Ahsoka was like, "What? You guys need to stop!" Like, because she could probably feel that they were going a little bit too far, and like, if they had to do so much to get something out of one person, like all of them have to use the Force and try to force this out. It was like just not the Jedi way, and so I think that's probably what Ahsoka was reading. Like, this is, and you see that throughout her whole character arc, right? There's a lot of things that Jedis end up doing that she's like, I don't like it, and
that's an interesting point. That's like one of her first.
That's like one of her first, like, oh, what are you guys doing? Like,
Interesting.
Yeah.
Now I gotta go watch that scene.
You're welcome, Jeremiah.
And I think the question that we really need to be asking ourselves is, who's the sponsor of today's episode? And I have an answer for that. If you're, Jeremiah, I feel like you were just completely done with me right now.
This is the coffee you're looking for.
This is the coffee you're looking for. Okay, so
would it be immoral to Jedi mind trick through the podcast to make people subscribe to Wesley Andrews?
Yes.
There is a question for you.
That is a question that I would say it is
But here's the thing.
immoral.
Would
But
they
is
enjoy
it
the
though?
coffee more
Yeah, but we're gaining.
than
We
our
would,
benefit of gaining money? That's the question.
no. No, when money comes into play, dude, it's
True. Okay, but
I
what
don't
if
know,
there's
like-
no money aside? If they just drank the coffee?
if they just got it for free.
Sure. We're just forcing them to try it,
Taste test it,
taste test it.
and then afterwards,
Isn't that what
they
all
like it so much,
Sam's
then they
Club
would buy
is?
it.
Yeah, that's what Sam's Club
No,
is.
see,
Sam's Club is
see,
just forcing us to take the samples.
Anyways, you
and
know
then
what?
we're through Sam's Club, and then we want to go buy those Cheez-Its because we
Drew,
tried them.
I need you to look at the chat and see how many people want this ad to happen. So
Okay,
I'm
well,
gonna play it.
do it.
I think everyone's ready. Here we go. You know it, you love it. Here it is.
Hey everyone, Andrew here. I'm pleased to tell you that the sponsor for today's episode is Wesley Andrews Coffee and Tea. If you don't know anything about Wesley Andrews, you definitely should. They're an award-winning coffee roaster and shop in Minneapolis, Minnesota, and they make fantastic coffee. The awesome thing is that they have a subscription service that gets those amazing coffee beans delivered to your door on an either weekly, bi-weekly, or a monthly basis. Unfortunately, we're all being negatively affected by this virus right now. With that being said, what a better time to try some new coffee and support a local business. I know they'll greatly appreciate it, and we will too. After all, using the code Empire Radio with a capital E and a capital R with no space at checkout, when you start a new subscription at wesleyandrews.cc, you'll get 50% off your first purchase. I can't think of a better deal. Get 50% off,
Tanner said
support a
those
local
beans can't
Minneapolis
be
coffee
good.
shop, and support your favorite Star Wars podcast.
They're not.
I should open
In
the
words
bag
of
and
Emperor
smell them.
Palpatine, do it.
Don't do it.
I'm gonna do it.
Do it. Do the subscription. For those of you that are hearing something interesting, oh boy. So Drew has
not that
a
bad.
bag of just random beans from Wesley Andrews that he did a test run of placing the logo that we did for our special coffee blend called Rule of Two. And he put the logo on this random bag of coffee, and he's had the bag for now. It's been months.
Yeah,
he
a
just
hot
opened it.
second.
Yeah,
They're
he
not that
just-
bad. Dude,
Yeah, I
they
mean,
might be
they-
good with espresso over ice cream.
Ooh,
Or Jeremiah can make some cool coffee cake or some baked good
Okay,
with them.
first of all,
I'd be down
there's
for
no
that.
coffee in coffee
True,
cake.
I just
You
said
eat the cake with coffee.
Okay,
why
what-
why not though? Why don't you just
tiramisu.
change
You can
that?
make tiramisu with it. How about
Oh
that?
yeah,
Isn't that?
That's
use
with
rum?
espresso. No, it's with espresso.
Well, there's alcohol in tiramisu.
there should be alcohol. No, I'm joking.
Whoa.
I was gonna say there should be alcohol in
Whoa.
everything. No, I'm joking.
I
I'm
don't think
joking.
in all
Leave me
tiramisu
alone.
is it,
There's alcohol in tiramisu.
but baked out.
It's some of it. It's not always fully evaporated.
Maybe that's why my wife likes it so much.
Hopefully
Oh,
she's not
boy.
eating any right now.
Oh boy. Anyways, so yeah, go get a coffee subscription if you want to try some Wesley Andrews beans. They're great, and like I said, the Rule of Two. We have a special coffee blend. It's Wesley Andrews' first blend ever, and they decided to collaborate with us, which is awesome. So if you want any information on how to get that, we do need 7 commitments to be able to roast another group of 7 bags because we want you to have fresh coffee beans. And so if you
It's
want
like
any
a
information about
pre-order.
that,
Just
yeah, it's
pre-order.
basically a pre-order. If you want any information about that, hit us up on our social media, shoot us a DM, or let us know in the Discord, and we'll give you more info. While we were listening to that lovely message, it also reminded me that if you did not know, for whatever reason, Thrawn Ascendancy Book 2, Greater Good, is out now. At the time of recording this, on Tuesday, April the 27th, today was the drop day.
I didn't know that actually, because I didn't read
learned
the.
that-
I haven't read the second one yet, or the first one. I mean,
Really?
no, because I still didn't finish the original trilogy, because I'm working on the Ahsoka book.
Oh.
But I mean, I think I pre-ordered both of them like on Audible.
Yeah.
I for sure have the first one, and I can just get the other one. And maybe, I don't know. This weekend's really nice. I was gonna say maybe I'll just spend the weekend, but I think this weekend I'm going fishing. But that's besides the point. Yeah.
Well, just listen to it while you're fishing.
I don't want to listen. I like to read and listen at the same time.
Okay, well then just go out on the boat, don't fish, and just read on a lake. I've done it before. It's awesome.
It is awesome, but so are the fish in the water that I want to get.
Okay. Anyways,
Remember, there's
Thrawn-
always a bigger fish.
Truce.
that's true.
That's my life story.
Wait, what? Okay. Thrawn Ascendancy Greater Good by the GOAT, Timothy Zahn. I'm going to say it.
Goat. Oh.
GOAT. As far as Star Wars writers are concerned, I'm sorry, Drew and
No.
Claudia Gray.
No. Claudia
for the
Gray
Lost
is really
Stars.
good. She's a really good, young adult writer.
Yeah.
But Timothy
Timothy
Zahn
Zahn
is like an
yeah.
amazing storyteller. I have no arguments with that actually. I just like Claudia Gray's like that book is so good for me. But like,
Yeah.
I get it.
You know, he's the one who wrote the original Thrawn trilogy, Outbound Flight, and 2 other Thrawn-related books in the expanded universe. And then they brought him back
Yeah.
to write the first Thrawn trilogy and now a Thrawn prequel trilogy. So
Andrew,
yes.
am I okay to not finish the last Thrawn book and start these 2
I
and go
will tell
back,
you-
or does
I
like
will tell
I need
you
to?
that without spoiling the second book of the first trilogy, there is a time...
I read the second one. I just haven't. I mean, I could probably finish it soon, but
Well, I would say in the first prequel book, there's a bit of time where Thrawn goes away and does something that is covered in one of the first books.
you don't know which one.
No, you do. It's in the second one. It's Alliances.
Oh yeah, I've already read that.
Okay, well then you should be fine.
That's what
But
I'm
for the
asking.
most part, everything else is a prequel trilogy thing. It's like its own thing. So, I mean, you need to read them.
No, I know. I need to read them all. My life's crazy right now. Okay, guys.
I understand. Tanner says, okay, hold on. It's Thrawn, Alliances, and then Treason. Correct. Thrawn, Alliances, Thrawn, Treason, and then now it's Ascendancy, Chaos Rising, Ascendancy, Greater Good, and then like the third one's like, I don't know. Someone in the chat will know, but I'm pretty sure it's like Lesser Evil or something. Something in that realm. Anyways, so back to the mind trick. I don't think I would be able to give a definitive answer.
Interesting.
Because it again, Jeremiah said it at the very beginning. Context is key when it comes to this stuff. Context and motive. And it's like, well, if you use a mind trick to I don't know, influence someone to jump off a cliff and die, at face value, no, it's not moral.
Heck no.
But then the situations get complicated, right? Well, it's like, okay, well, if them going off a cliff then saves Alderaan from being blown up in A New Hope, I don't know if that's moral. It's necessary.
Like, okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, like you had
it's
what's
not-
his name, the guy that designed the Death Star. If you tricked him,
Galen or so.
yeah, if you tricked
Yeah.
Galen to, no, but we
Yeah.
like Galen. He's a good person.
Right, but therein lies the complexity of the mind trick and why I believe that Jedi only used it for very trivial things.
Yeah, I think the
You know.
way. So I think it is moral the way the Jedi used it. I think if it's more than just a trick, then I wouldn't say it's moral. If that makes sense. If it's more than getting away from a situation, like these aren't the droids you're looking for.
Right.
Stop smoking dope. Those tricks, fine. Like if it's more intense than that, like if it's what Kylo was doing, then obviously yes, it's not moral. But if
Right.
you're just trying to not make violence or just Oh, that's.
But here's the thing though: if Kylo Ren didn't do what he did to Rey, then Rey wouldn't have defeated
'Cause of-
Palpatine a couple years later. So like,
What do you mean? Hold on. Say what? Explain.
because if the reason Rey became a dyad in the Force with Kylo is because what Kylo did,
they
and it's
connected.
because of that dyad that she became so powerful in the Force and later
I thought
defeated Palpatine.
I thought they were a dyad already.
No, I think in that moment is when their minds connected, and that's when they
I
became
could
a
have
dyad.
sworn that they were a dyad already because it was a Skywalker and a Palpatine.
No, it was at that moment the dyad was created.
I must have
because
missed
that's when
that.
she
There's a lot of things to miss in those movies.
That's when
That's fair.
like when her Force sensitivity actually like could manifest. Like she had like prophetic dreams because when he's reading her mind, she's like, I see the island, and the island is probably referring to Luke on Ahch-To. But like it wasn't fully awakened until
What's The Force Awakens?
yeah.
Maybe that's why they called that movie what they did.
They don't know why they call that movie the way they did.
Oh, shots fired.
Anyways,
Just saying.
I'm saying, like, if that didn't happen, she wouldn't have become Force sensitive, like in like a formal way, like powerful
Yeah.
way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then, because like either way, Palpatine's plan would have tried to do Palpatine's plan where he dispatched this giant fleet or whatever, the Final Order, and so
Interesting.
like
But we were talking about how that's not really a trick. That's more. That's not the mind trick. That would be more of like
Right.
what the Sith were using.
Yeah, it's hard. It's
Right,
hard
'cause-
to just stay on the mind trick itself and not focus on Force influence over someone's mind and like just kind of in general as a topic.
Yeah. Well,
You know.
and I'm basing off of the wording trick.
Sure,
Like a mind trick is something short, something like magic trick, like something like that. You know, like isn't magic a mind trick to all of us if it's done properly?
If it's done properly, yeah.
Right?
Well,
am I wrong?
No, I think the biggest thing, I think the concept is similar, but the biggest difference is like, I don't see a really good magic trick and go, you know what? I'm gonna go change something about my life.
But you were talking about like being hypnotized. That's the same thing.
Okay, what no. A magic trick and hypnosis are very different.
Gnosis isn't even real, is it? Isn't it just fake?
We're not going to talk about that right now. that's another rabbit hole. But what I am saying is like sleight of hand, like being able to produce a card. I wish I could have. It would have been so cool if I was like, bah, and I just did it right on the podcast. Surprised I'm actually a magician. Not really, but that would have been fun. Anyways, but
I would have just me and Jeremiah would be like weird flex, but
yeah. But like that type of thing is very different from hypnosis.
okay.
But magic is also
But
not
is
something
it
that
different in a Jedi's mind?
What?
Because people that do magic aren't Jedis, but they did. Would it be like a mind trick? Is like their version of their magic?
I don't think it would be magic because the galaxy knows about Jedi.
Well,
You know what I'm saying? If you knew,
but
if you,
they
if you
didn't.
had an
No,
idea.
wait,
that
hold up. But they didn't know about Obi-Wan was a Jedi. Like they didn't know.
Sure, I don't think they would have thought it was magic though.
Who's to say
They
what
would have
those?
thought it was sorcery, though.
Yeah.
Which, if you're talking about like Lord of the Rings, kind of. I don't know. Just in my mind, I'm seeing it as like, if it's something quick and stuff, it's moral. If it's more intense than that, then it's not moral. If you can control someone to go jump off a cliff, or control someone to go do something, I feel like it wouldn't be moral. That's just my opinion.
Right.
But if I'm just trying to hide some droids
However, but here's the thing, Drew. Here's where it gets complicated. It always gets complicated. Here's where it gets complicated. If you influence someone to go to their death, or
No, that's intense.
but listen, here's the thing. Let's say the Death Star was defeated because Luke got up in there and he mind tricked someone into overloading the reactor.
But
He
then
says,
he
hold on. He waves his hand. He says, "You're gonna give me 5 minutes. I'm gonna skedaddle out of here, and then you're gonna overload the reactor because you know how to do that because you're some sort of an engineer, right?" Millions of people still die, right? Death Star had millions of people on it. Boom, they're gone in an instant. They're vaporized. However, the threat of the Empire, let's say it happens before Alderaan, right? But then it's like it gets way more complicated because, like, sure, it's a trick. He's just influencing someone to do something very minor, but that action has devastatingly huge implications and
we were
repercussions.
talking about, in order to do it, don't you have to be kind of close to them? Like,
Wait, what?
like the Jedi, like we were talking about how like they have to hold that for a while, and I feel like it would be kind of hard to hold that if they're getting away in a ship.
Because you're planting a thought. You're planting. It would be him planting the, okay, I'm going to wait 5 minutes and then hit the button. It doesn't take much to be like, that's what you're going to do next. And they're like, oh, yeah. I mean, it's like the same thing. It's like the second you realize you're craving like a food and all you can think about is like, how can I get this for dinner? You know, it's the same thing.
So like,
it's just like them implanting that food craving.
Gotcha. So it's like
into
commercial
someone.
ads are mind tricking us. Just how we did a mind trick of a coffee
it's
ad.
marketing. It's marketing. Yeah.
But is
I mean,
that
that's what
mind
marketing is. Let's just be
mind
real.
trick.
But yeah.
Wow, you heard it here first. All marketing is just mind tricks.
But here's the thing. Twist makes a valid point. There's a wider margin of morality when the victim of the mind trick is working for the Empire, right?
Ooh.
So it's like, okay, again.
But we all know that most of those stormtroopers, they just want a job. They just want some health insurance, some dental,
right. And they don't know that they're doing. But that's where it gets so complicated because it's like a lot of the Empire didn't know what actually went on.
Correct. But I'm saying, in the examples that we got for the mind trick, and with Obi-Wan and with Qui-Gon, and those examples of the mind trick, I feel like were okay. But when you start making people one die or do really intense things, even if it is for the greater good, I don't think it is okay because there's always a different way to do it.
Well, and the interesting thing that Twist just said is that if a Jedi kills someone with a lightsaber to do good, or a mind tricks someone to jump off a cliff, what's the difference? There isn't.
Correct. There isn't. And that's what I was going to say, too, about Luke. Like, Luke did kill all those people anyways.
I mean, that's fair.
So if he mind tricked...
That's fair.
You know what I mean? Like, if he went in there and mind tricked the guy to jump into that reactor and start blowing it up, what's the difference? There isn't a difference.
But that's the thing. Would you label him blowing up the Death Star with his X-Wing as moral?
Well, that's like getting way intense. So like, is war moral?
Okay, we're not. Okay,
it's just
Star Wars. This is what we're.
I mean,
like
it's Star Wars.
Like the whole thing, like, is it moral? It is moral on both sides in their like defense. You know, like, what is moral?
Okay, here's something.
Give it to us. Give it to us,
yeah,
wise sage.
When Luke is flying the X-Wing and Obi-Wan Kenobi speaks to him, is Obi-Wan doing a mind trick on Luke to use the Force?
Oh, that's a good question. Oh, wow. He mind tricked him to turn off
Yeah. Like, he put a thought in his head, and he did it. So did Obi-Wan force him
I don't
to
think
trust
so. I don't
into
think
the-
so.
trust
I don't
in the
think so.
Force?
I don't think so because he wanted Luke to learn something. What are you? No. What are you looking like that for, Drew? No. Okay, the whole time he's like, you need to become a Jedi, yada yada yada, and like he's trying to get Luke to be able to use the Force because he needs to train him. He needs him.
Use the Force, Luke.
That's right. Whatever.
That's what we're talking.
Yeah, I know. I'm just like,
I don't think.
that is a good question, Jeremiah,
Yeah,
because he did.
I don't think he was. I think he was gently, just kind of telling him what he needed
He was
to do.
gently guiding him.
No. It's not the same. It's like, because like a Jedi can look at someone and go, "You need to go home and think your life." Trying to convince them, and then they can wave their hand and do it. And it's a completely different story.
True.
You know what I'm saying?
It just makes me think,
think
how many times have we been mind tricked by everything in the world now? I'm like really stressed out.
I mean, we could all be in the Matrix right now.
True. This could all be an alternate reality.
That's true.
And every time you have a dream, that's you going to your real reality.
I hope not.
Did you guys read my dream that I had the other day? That I posted on
No.
Discord.
No.
No.
I probably
it was
missed
a Star Wars
Ooh.
Oh.
one.
Sounds like a good
It's like 50,000 messages up to things. So you're not.
Oh,
gonna
yeah.
find it.
Yeah.
That's fine. You
So
can tell
I-
us
I
off
think-
stream.
I think for me, there's a difference. There's a line where being moral shifts to being necessary. Like something can be necessary and not be moral. Like the taking of a life for the greater good. Like taking someone's life is not in its purest sense moral. It's not moral. But at the same time, doing so for the sake of the galaxy as a whole is necessary. You know what I'm saying? Like there's so many stormtroopers and Imperials died in the Death Star that probably didn't need to be killed, but the Death Star it was necessary for it to be destroyed.
If you read
Because-
Lost Star, you get that from their perspective.
Yeah, same thing with the Battlefront 2 novel too.
Well, I haven't read that one, but that's why I
You
like
should.
that book, because it brings up both sides. It's like, yeah, all these people died on Alderaan, but then all these people died. Like, what's good? What's like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it makes you think about it in a different light, which is, and when I first read it, that's why that book, I love that book so much.
But then we also have to consider though, like within
Speak
the
to
Star
us,
Wars,
wise one.
within the Star Wars universe, like, is morality a social construct? And because like what is the line that Chirrut Imwe says? All is as the Force wills it.
Yeah.
And so if like everything is just the will of the Force, then it's not right or wrong. It's just what the Force does. And so like,
I mean,
if
to
the
be
Force
fair-
is always about trying to maintain balance, like the good, if there's a good, it's
Right.
what brings something into the balance.
Mm.
So like,
right. I see where you're going.
so like, whose definition of moral are we going by? Like that's also
Right.
That's a whole nother thing. But like,
right. I mean, it's it's pretty understandable that like no one in the galaxy is gonna look at the enslavement of Wookiees and be like, that's a good thing. Except for the
people in the Empire.
except for the people that clearly have a problem with their morality, Jeremiah.
Oh, okay.
I mean,
Which is
but- I
why
mean,
they
but-
shouldn't use mind tricks.
But like, here's the thing. And we also have to keep in mind.
Wait, did Kiadi Mundi mind trick the Jedi Council when he's like, "What about the droid attack on the
no
Wookiees?"
way.
Like Jedi mind trick.
No.
No, because
can't
they
do
don't
that
have
to
weak
Yoda.
minds.
They don't have weak minds.
Compared to his, like maybe like he's so
He's
much
not
stronger
that,
that
he's not that because
Stronger than Yoda?
he would have been the Grand Master.
Dude, come on. Unless he made them
maybe
think
he
that
was
they
secretly the Sith Master and no one even knew it. Maybe he was pulling all the strings.
Ooh, that'd be
Because
cool.
guess what? They sent people to Kashyyyk.
I mean, that's true. Maybe Kiadi Mundi was the Sith Lord, but then he wasn't a very good one because he got gunned down by his troopers.
Okay.
So, I don't
Yeah,
think
that
that
was
was actually a thing. So, anyways, yeah. And the other thing we have to understand is like it's really fun to theorize, but at the end of the day, like Star Wars was created by someone with a human sense of morality.
True.
So it's like it's automatically bound by those same standards, you know? But I mean, but you're right. I mean, there could be, like the Kaleesh, Grievous's species, were like a warrior race. And of course they have a different they would have a different view of morality because, like I it's the same thing with our world because, like, for example, it was honorable in feudal Japan to take your own life. You were considered, it was an honorable way to die. It was looked upon positively and morally if you had been disgraced. But now, well, in the common age, but also in other parts of the world at the same time, suicide was not viewed as a moral thing. You know what I'm saying? So the standards still apply here. It's like, you could have a culture that had a completely different view on a single planet from the rest of the galaxy. But I think if we're talking about the Empire, the problem with the Empire is that it was born out of someone's desire for conquest and superiority and, oppression over people. So I feel like that in and of itself, if something like that is at the root of the formation of something, it kind of bleeds into everything else. So,
well,
did we just all burn out at the same time?
I don't know. Like,
Maybe.
I feel like every single time I try to say it's a little moral, Andrew shuts me down. So.
Oh, okay. You know what? All right,
shots
Drew.
fired.
All right, Drew.
Okay, I'll get out.
No, hey. Hey. You can. You know what? I will be completely silent. You can say whatever you want.
No, I don't know. You just make me think about it more intensely, and that's probably why this is a good conversation question. Also, we thought this podcast would go way shorter than it already has because this is actually a really good question.
I mean, to be fair, we're sitting right now at an hour and 12 minutes, which is still pretty short comparatively. But Tanner goes, "This was too deep of an episode." Daddy Pops goes, "Bro, this hurt my head."
Yeah.
So
people are saying there are not enough drugs for this episode, but yeah.
You should go home and rethink your life. No, I'm joking. But yeah, like it is interesting because like I spend more time than I think people realize thinking about these things.
Oh.
In the way their relation to Star Wars. And it's fascinating to me.
That's good.
Because
I like it.
So for example, I'm reading an EU book called The Lost Tribe of the Sith. Stop it, Jeremiah. Stop shaking your head. I'm reading something called The Lost Tribe of the Sith, and it's a collected grouping of stories that takes place in different time periods, and it's about literally a tribe of Sith that gets completely secluded from the rest of the galaxy, and they basically create their own government and everything, and yada yada yada. Well, it's very interesting because you're reading this book and you're like, all of these people are Sith. They all follow the dark side of the Force, and yet some of them are like strangely good. Like some of these people remind me more of Jedi than Sith. But then at the end of the day, like they get in fights and you're like, they're using the dark side. But it's, you know what I'm saying? So like stuff like that, like anytime, for example, Thanos from Avengers, anytime you have an antagonist or what is supposed to be the antagonist, but you begin to see something different in them, like Thrawn. We could talk about Thrawn in its own episode because,
I'm down.
In his own just ascendancy, he's very loving and he's caring and he wants the greater good of the ascendancy, but then he joins the Empire and aligns himself with what would be considered one of the greatest evils in the history of the galaxy. So all of these things, like all that to say, I spent a lot of time thinking about these things.
Well, and you probably do more because you read these EU books that touch on things that the movies in general don't touch on.
Right.
And that's probably why you do think about. And I feel like every time you read a book, you do think about it in a different way than if you're watching something on the screen.
Right.
So that makes sense.
You get internal monologue that you don't get. They just don't have budget and time for in
exactly.
cinema, you know. So
Jeremiah's keeping his eye open with his hand right now.
Anyways, all of that to say, it's proof that you need to go read more expanding universe novels.
I don't know about that. But Jeremiah, you didn't give us the answer. What you think?
I think you kind of did.
Well, I think I summarize your guys' stance again. Like what the overall.
Drew, you go first.
I think the way we saw the mind tricks used by the certain Jedi that used them was moral.
Mm-hmm.
I think if you go too far and someone's life perhaps dies because of it, I don't think it's moral. But the examples we were given by the Jedi mind trick, I feel like was moral. I'm basing off of the examples we were given, not off of diving in and going way too deep about it.
Andrew, what was your...
Mine is that it is entirely dependent on the situation and the motive.
Which is kind of what I said. Because the examples we got were...
In an indirect, indirect way, yeah. I mean, for me, I would have to... Like, it would be a case-by-case scenario if I was a Force user. It would have to be.
Yeah.
Because you can never say that the mind trick is totally moral when it has such potential, if used incorrectly, to cause destruction. But you can't say it's immoral. So yeah, it's based on.
I think it's case by case, and why the Jedi used it the way they did, because they knew it was case by case. You know what I mean? Like the Jedi were allowed to use it on certain things, and that's why Ahsoka was like, "I think this is not right," because it wasn't.
Drew, they were people. They're not just things. You said they can use them on certain things. They're people.
No, like for certain
things. And their name
things.
is Anakin. They're a person, and their name is Anakin.
Okay. I meant to say for certain things. Like,
no, I got you.
You can use it for certain things, but like that's why Ahsoka didn't like it, because it didn't work with one person. Like, just tell me where it is. You know. It took a lot of digging, and so that's why it wasn't. She didn't feel like it was moral in that situation.
I don't know. For me, I think ends don't always justify the means, and so like. I don't know. Like, you're not responsible for someone else's immoral acts. And so it wouldn't be immoral to not do a mind trick that would save lives. I think, like, you're not responsible for someone else's actions. Even though if you could use a mind trick to save lives, it's not wrong to not save lives, I guess, in a sense. But like, even then, that sounds terrible, because like, you got like a group of kids that are about to get killed, and like you don't do anything about. Like, I don't know. It's one of those things. Like, happy I'm not
a Jedi.
A Jedi.
So just to sum it up for people, you're saying that you don't believe having the ability to change something for the greater good and then not doing so is in and of itself immoral.
Correct.
Okay.
And so, like, even though we would say, like, we always like, well, why didn't you stop the bad guy? Like, and like, why didn't you stop this? Like, and putting the blame on the bystander or something. But they didn't do anything wrong. It was the person who committed a crime that did something wrong. Like, I don't know. It's one of those things, like, I just don't ever want to be in those situations in life where, like you mentioned, the Man of Steel, like, he was pleading with Zod till the final second from the stop, but he had to do it the last second, and it's like, maybe that's where I would go. Like at the very last, like find a different way first to fix the problem.
Yeah, you could use your lightsaber first.
Yes, that is true.
Just done. It's
You
easy.
do that pretty good. Can you do it again?
Yeah, I told you. I spent a lot of time as a kid, as an only child, playing Star Wars by myself.
Always
so.
forget your only child.
So who were you? Like, were you like playing as Luke, or were you like
Bro, I was
Andrew
always,
Martin, Jedi Master?
No, I was always
Luke.
or like a Luke type character, yeah. But mostly it was Luke.
Dude, those poor trees in your backyard. I can just see you just beating the crap out of those trees.
I didn't do that until I did martial arts and I
Oh.
had an actual sword.
And you actually did damage to these poor trees
Yeah,
that are just
that
trying to live
actually
their
did.
lives.
And-
It was a
and
great
his
moral
arm.
of me. And my arm. That was a mistake.
Yeah. Well,
All right, I think we answered the question.
Cool. Well,
But we
do have
tried.
another one. We tried. We do. Like I said, we have one from that Ask Us Anything episode that we have in our back pocket for later. But next week you will not be getting that because next week, the premiere. It's going to be the premiere of the
70-minute
Bad Batch.
premiere.
70-minute premiere.
Which is like 10 minutes of like intro screens and credits at the end, but like
Yeah,
whatever.
but it doesn't matter
True.
because it's going to be more than we got for a normal episode. So
True.
we're going to be
it's like
covering
2
the-
episodes in one.
We just know that all the other episodes after are gonna be like 15 minutes.
Yeah.
70 minutes is a long. That's like an hour. That's a long time.
I mean, it's an hour and 10 minutes.
Yeah.
So yeah. So yeah, next week, stay tuned. It's gonna be a lot of fun. If you want to get a voicemail in, I don't know how much time we're gonna have. Watch, this will be the week that we have like 4, because everybody.
If you just
want
want to like say, "Hey guys, we love you," blah blah blah, and we can just play it and say, "Hey, thanks." Like that's good too. It doesn't have to be a question.
That's true.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be a question. It just could be, "We love you." That's it.
Yeah, that's fine with me. I'm fine with that. But so we're gonna be taking a very deep dive on my wife's birthday into the Bad Batch episode 1, season 1, episode 1. So if you're here for that, we're gonna be here for it. It's gonna be a lot of fun. Anything else? Any other reminders?
Nope. Just go to our social media. I'm planning on doing a watch party, probably solo of. I don't think these guys are gonna do it with me. Of the Bad Batch on Tuesday before the podcast. So if you guys want to hang out and watch it with me, feel free to do that. It'll be on this Twitch.
Yeah.
You have to go to twitch.tv/Empire Radio to join
Actually,
me.
might join that.
You might join me? Ooh, this would be
Yeah,
fun.
I might join that. I mean, I will have to. Is that going to be your first time watching it?
Mm-hmm.
Don't you get distracted by the stream?
No.
Because I would have to watch it like in a vacuum before then to analyze everything.
Well,
And then-
I mean, you guys will talk about it, and then it'll come back to my head.
oh, gotcha. Okay. Anyways, so there'll apparently be a stream. I don't know when that's going to be, but Drew will
Yeah,
have all the information for that.
I'll post it in our socials and on Discord when I will planning on go live to do that.
Sweet. Yeah. All right. Well, this has been the first Cantina discussion in a while. This is a nice one.
Yeah.
And this is just a reinforcement that if you are a part of the Discord, head over to the content suggestions channel and make a suggestion,
Yes.
Yeah.
because we actually read them. And
I
now,
feel like this is like the 4th topic that Ira has
yeah,
submitted to us that we've done an actual episode solely to. So
yeah.
she always has a good topic.
And by the way, someone Twist is saying Jeremiah watch party for the Ewok show.
Just Jeremiah.
Just Jeremiah. We should just stream you nonstop until you finish the 2 seasons. You don't get to leave.
It could. We could take a
Ooh.
week off from work and like do like a.
Well, you could just do like a 24-hour stream.
I'll just
We
add
could,
it all up.
we could like figure out how we could
We
like.
should, maybe we should just do that. The 3 of us, just on like a weekend, just
I just don't.
binge
Hey,
it.
if we could do that, I mean, once we get our, I mean, this was conversation after this. In the podcast, we can have a conversation. 'Cause I
All
f-
right.
Right.
But I don't even remember what I was saying before.
You're saying I've been Andrew. That's what you're doing.
No.
Go
Dirty
check out
dog.
our social
No.
medias.
No, what I was gonna say is if you're a part of the Discord and you throw something in the content suggestion channel and it gets marked with this is the new standard, marked with a red question mark reaction. Don't worry about it. We are marking it for later because what always happens is someone makes a good content suggestion and then there's a full-fledged conversation. It just gets lost.
Oh, sure.
So I'm going to start doing that now to make sure we don't miss anything. So, all right. This has been another episode of the Empire Radio Podcast. I'm Andrew.
I'm Jeremiah.
I'm Drew.
And may the force be with you.
Always.